Let me now bring on board Prakash Dewan, Chief Portfolio Strategist with Prakash Dewan's Wealth Circle. Prakash, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Prakash, despite global odds, Indian markets did manage to outperform regional markets quite smartly on Tuesday. So what do you think really did the trick for us on Tuesday?
I think it's something where, very clearly we're seeing ourselves in a sweet spot. It's a convergence of, or rather I would say, in the absence of negative news flow domestically, and even, we are being able to absorb all the cues that we have from the external markets, overseas markets, and getting into result season, particularly for a quarter where there's not much of expectations. So any kind of, positive surprises could actually take things only forward. So you've got all the bad news factored in. You have a lot of optimism and hope building up. The companies have still been able to manage good top-line growth. They're not really earning downgrades that we're expecting. So I think we're in an absolutely sweet spot in terms of taking this rally forward. People are talking about some sort of serious profit booking and resistance coming through. But my sense is July could probably end up with about 56.20, and we could test those February highs again.
Prakash, what could put a speed breaker to this movement that we've been seeing?
The speed breaker could possibly, Aisha, be a disappointment on the policy side, and that's a domestic part. And from external cues, maybe if the rupee continues to lose ground, in spite of such a positive inflow that we've seen from portfolio inflows in the last 15 days. Then there could be some sort of a questionable, situation where people would want to kind of re-look at India and, in spite of valuations being so attractive, start, getting back to the drawing board in terms of some serious allocations. But I think if domestically, there's no disappointment, the speed breaker is only going to be a blip, not really anything that could be very significantly slowing down things.
Prakash, what are your thoughts on MCX and FT? Yes, today we will see a pop-up for both these stocks, but eventually if FT and MCX, if they have to bring the ownership down to 5% in next 18 months, as a shareholder, this news is more like a neutral news then.
Absolutely. In fact, all that hype and positivity that we saw in this build-up, towards the build-up, would actually, get countered by the fact that there's going to be such a significant dilution in a market condition like this. And mind you, setting up an exchange and running it successfully, there are two different things. We've already seen, between the two existing major exchanges, the kind of competition that exists and the kind of margins, that are eroding. So it's going to be extremely difficult for MCX to make it a profitable venture in the short term. What I think the upside could come for MCX down the line is its foray into some of the other markets, especially some of the other emerging markets where it could probably, significantly get some sort of an upside. But till that happens, I wouldn't kind of, bank too heavily on this news and go long on it. In fact, as even Mitesh said, they've already run up quite a bit. You could probably take some profit home. Probably, wait to see what happens next before you kind of start building further positions.
Okay, let's check on FMCG, because the FMCG index on Tuesday appreciated by about 1% plus. Now this is interesting because FMCG stocks, they normally tend to outperform when market conditions are choppy. They normally tend to underperform when market conditions are strong and when markets are moving up because of momentum. ITC is at 258 rupees. So irrespective of the news flow, ITC has been one of the best performing Nifty stock, at least in this calendar year. Prakash, ITC at 258, CLS is of the view that it is still attractively priced?
I think the kind of shortage of good, well-run companies in this space with clear visibility itself, ends up giving such a huge premium to some of these players. But, interestingly, we have seen the interest levels also percolate down to the tier 2 FMCG scripts, and that's where a Zydus Wellness, a Dabur, possibly now a Marico could start looking attractive. But yes, ITC is not at all something that I would run away from. But very clearly I would step into it as a defense strategy and not expect some great upside from here on.
Okay, news out on Titan, and an ET Now exclusive at that they perhaps may be looking at an acquisition to the tune of about $1 billion. Harry Winston is the targeted company. Prakash, what is your sense on what it would mean for Titan to have a renowned name like Harry Winston on board?
I think if you notice, Titan has been kind of expanding into the mass affluent segment since quite some time, and that strategy has kind of paid off. But in terms of the premium end of the luxury segment of its value chain, there's not really much of a strength that it has been able to build. And with the kind of onslaught that we have of some of the other foreign brands and labels that are coming in, I think it makes sense for Titan to kind of get into this at the right stage. And mind you, the valuations that they could probably get away with would be far attractive had things not been so bad in Europe. If things were very great, people would have, the Europeans would have, I mean, the foreigners would have expected much higher valuations. Here you probably have a win-win situation, and Titan could probably be better off taking this up.
Prakash, what do you make of yesterday's rally in some of the auto stocks? Now, monsoon progress this year unfortunately has been subpar, which means it's a matter of time auto stocks will come under pressure.
Well, possibly yes, Nikunj, but my sense is it's a bit too early to come to that conclusion that the monsoon is a disappointment, and hence, the corollary that auto stocks would find it difficult. If you look at what's happened is the possibility of petrol prices not having moved further in the last month or so, and some sort of a respite, feeling of respite that prevails. I think all that pent-up buying that was kind of postponed or put aside has come in and would continue to come in. And I doubt if auto stocks would really see any kind of a significant slowdown. I mean, you'll probably see some market share shifts, because we quietly seen Honda move up the ladder in terms of its market share at the cost of possibly Hero MotoCorp and TVS. But otherwise, if you see auto sales, especially two-wheelers, there's not really much slowing down, and there are different segments that people are catering to in the four-wheeler pack. So product launches would strategically make sure that that's offset. The slowdown in demand is offset by some sort of a bump up in sales. So I wouldn't be very disappointed with auto stocks and would not have such a negative view as yet.
The one stock which is going to be in focus today is Cummins India. Remember, Cummins Incorporated in the US has cut their global revenue guidance for 2012, and they say that revenue growth is going to be flat versus the estimated 10% growth, or rather that is what they've clocked. They see weak US orders from truck as well as power generation customers as well. And however, they are also saying that demand in Brazil, India as well as China is not improving as expected. So this is a huge warning coming in from Cummins Global. Cummins India, however, yesterday's trade, it shut sharp higher by about 1%. But Prakash, how concerned would you be about Cummins India's growth? And do you think they would be able to match up to their guidance that they set out the previous quarter?
Yes, possibly difficult, but I would go in the favor of them actually meeting up with the expectations, because you need to understand Cummins has always been in a segment that that's kind of underserviced, or in terms of the supplier side, you really don't have much of segmentally you don't have much of competition, and we still continue to remain a power hungry economy as on a whole. And with the kind of distribution across the power value chain, I don't think a player like Cummins with an established brand and an established network of service centers would really be impacted. So Cummins India would distinctly be a sort of a jewel in the crown in terms of the overall business that Cummins has. But yes, the slowdown could possibly be more on a macro level, and that would start impacting maybe a couple of quarters away and not right now.
Infosys on Tuesday shut shop at about 2,500, close to 2,500. For Infosys to go to 2,600 or 2,700, what do you think markets want to hear from the management tomorrow? Which is that one EPS number which we need to memorize, which will change the market sentiment for Infosys in the short term?
Well, again, I think more than just the EPS outcome for the quarter gone by, in case Infosys comes up with some sort of confidence building guidance, or some sort of a forward-looking statement that says things are not so bad that as much as that we've been kind of factoring in, Infosys could probably head towards 2850 very quickly, and my sense is it could probably surprise us with the Q1 numbers as well when the numbers come out tomorrow.
15% down for Infosys Technologies. No numbers are coming out tomorrow. I think someone has pressed the wrong button. There is no way that Infosys Technologies in the pre-open session should have ideally cracked by about 15%. Prakash, could this be a possible scenario tomorrow, that if Infosys they cut their guidance by 10-15% for FY13 or 10-12% cut?
Well, if it's such a drastic change in outlook, definitely the reaction would also be, bordering on the overreaction side. But I would still go with that optimism of things not being so bad, because they probably have some sort of a plan and strategy up their sleeve in terms of going about countering the kind of slowdown that they've faced, especially the BFSI vertical. So wait for some sort of guidance on that, and things could be not as bad as we've been expecting all this while.